Hi guys, it's Miss Casey again, and I'm here with our second project for our Creativity and Contest series. And today we are going to be talking all about different color schemes. So last week we learned about how to use all of our different materials properly and also created a color wheel. So we've talked a little bit about colors, but today we're going to be bringing back our color wheel, talking a little bit more about our different color schemes, and then we're going to be doing a drawing and choosing different color schemes and seeing how each color scheme is going to change up your artwork. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so for today's project, like I said, we're going to be learning all about different color schemes. So I have all of my materials here again with me today because since we learned about different mediums, it's going to be up to you guys which mediums you would like to use for your project today. Now you can go between different mediums if you'd like, just like I did. I went from markers to color pencil to oil pastels, but you can change it up however you'd like. Now what we're going to be doing first is we're going to be splitting our paper into three, drawing a very basic subject and doing that in each section. Because we don't really want to focus on our drawing today, our main focus is going to be all about the colors that we choose and what different feeling or mood we get from those different colors. So first we're going to talk about all of the different color schemes that you can use and choose and exactly what those are going to represent in your artwork. So let's go ahead and move over to our color wheel. So I'm going to move my supplies over real quickly. And I'm going to bring my color wheel over from last week. So if you have those with you, you can go ahead and take them out as well to help you go over your colors and figure out what those different color schemes are. So here's my color wheel here. I'm going to leave this over to the side. So we have our handy dandy color wheel here with us again, and what this is going to help us with is looking at what different colors, where they're placed on our color wheel and what they mean when we have different color schemes. Okay, so last week we talked a little bit about complementary colors and analogous colors, but to refresh your memory, complementary colors are colors that are completely opposite or far apart from each other on the color wheel, so red and green. We also have purple and yellow and blue and orange. Those are all complementary colors, okay? Now those colors can be used to make things stand out. It's going to create a very loud picture. And many companies or businesses use complementary colors to make their logo or their business stand out. So red and green, those colors are famous and used very often for Christmas colors. So they stand out and they are complementary colors. Then we have purple and yellow. Can you guys think of any business or company or any other thing that might be using purple and yellow for their colors? If you guessed the Lakers basketball team, then you are correct. Lakers do use purple and yellow together, and I'm sure many other teams have used complementary colors as well to help them make their logo or their team stand out. Now another color set of complementary colors used is blue and orange. Now can anyone guess what company may be using blue and orange for their color set? If you guessed Fibo, you guessed it correctly. Good job. You can see here on my table, I have a blue table with an orange sticker. And those are very well known to be Fibo colors, blue and orange, to help Fibo stand out. So, complementary colors are used very often. Now, next we have analogous colors. An analogous color is colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. So, if we were to split our color wheel directly down the middle, we have analogous colors on the right and we have analogous colors on the left. Now, these two sets are actually known to be a different type of color set, and I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute, but this color set is also known as analogous. Now normally analogous colors come in a set of 3, but they can even come up to about 4 or 5. It depends what project or what artwork you're creating and what analogous colors or what feeling you would like to represent for your project or your artwork. So analogous colors could be like red, red, orange, and orange, or you can skip over tertiary colors and just use red, orange, and yellow. You can also go around the circle, so maybe instead of left and right in half, maybe you want to do top and bottom half. So you can do blues, purples, and reds as analogous colors. You can do yellows, greens, and blues as analogous colors. It is so fun to use different analogous colors and to figure out what exactly those colors can create, the type of meaning that it creates for your artwork. Now, as I said, if you were to go split down the middle between right and left, this is another type of color set, also analogous colors, but they're also known as warm and cool colors. So our yellow-green here is kind of right in the middle, but for warm and cool colors, we have colors that make us feel warm, that make us think of the heat or the sun or fire. And so those colors are going to be red, red, orange, 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 yellow. And then we have colors that are going to make us think of the cold or something cold, chilly, snow. So those colors are going to be blues and greens. So we have red, violet, violet, blue, blue, green, regular green, and also we have yellow green. Okay, so those colors are definitely used very often in artwork as well. When you use cool colors, you make a very calming atmosphere, a very calming picture. Cool colors are also very used in nature. So nature, if you just have a landscape, that makes you think of a very calm setting. If you were to think of the ocean, that's also very cool color, nature color palette. So that can make you think of very cool settings. It can calm you down. But if you were to use warm colors, it makes you usually very happy and fun and loud and bright. They're very bold colors. So if you were drawing a person maybe sad, or if they were maybe at the beach and they weren't doing any fun activity, maybe they were just sitting looking at the ocean, they were relaxing, you wouldn't want very, very bright colors because that would change the mood of the person that you're drawing. However, if you have maybe like food or someone eating ice cream, or if you had someone playing in the ocean, so even though it's a ocean scene, if they're having fun, but you were to use cool colors and keep it very cool and calm, that's going to change the feeling of the drawing that you did. So you always want to make sure you match those colors to help you push that feeling or that mood into your artwork just a little bit more. So that's what our warm and cool colors do as well. Now, beyond warm and cool or complementary and analogous, we also have other sets of color schemes. We have a triadic color scheme. We have split complementary color schemes. We have tetradic color schemes. We have monochromatic color schemes. There are so many, it's hard to remember, but we have so many color schemes that are very well used also. So back to my first on my list, we have triadic color schemes. Triadic color schemes also means three, tri. So triadic means you have three sets of colors. Now these just aren't three random colors that you choose. They are also going to create a triangle. So triadic colors are colors that are equally spaced into threes on the color wheel. So if we start from red, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 spaces and find our next color, and then 1, 2, 3 spaces and find the third color. And so we have 3 colors. It creates a very equilateral triangle. Now, the most common triadic color scheme is going to be our primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and those are used very often in color schemes. I'll be showing you guys some examples in class if you're with us in our live class, but if you're just watching the recording, then you can go out maybe to different illustration books or maybe to artwork that you've done in the past and look at the different color schemes that you may have used and haven't noticed. So red, blue, and yellow are often very used, but another triadic color scheme is going to be orange, green, and violet. Here they are, orange, green, and violet. They're also equally spaced across the color wheel, but you can go over your color wheel and try to find some more triadic color schemes that you may have not thought of in the past. Now another color scheme is the tetradic color scheme. Now triadic was 3 colors. Tetradic, tetra, means 4, so that would be an equal rectangle. 4 colors. Now this is very easy and simple because we just find 4 colors that are equally spaced, which is 2 spaces apart. So if we were to go to red, orange, our next color would be our next color would be violet. And then across from red, orange, we have blue, green, and then across from violet, we have yellow. So you can look at it as 2 sets of complementary colors. That's a tetradic color scheme. So 2 sets of complementary colors, you can just find 2 very common complementary colors like red and green and blue and orange, and there you have a tetradic color scheme. Okay, now our next one, we have triadic, tetradic, and then the next one we're going to talk about is a monochromatic color scheme. Now, monochromatic is basically not going around the color wheel. You're just sticking to one color, so that's mono, one. You're sticking to one color, and then you're using all the different shades you can of that one color. Okay, so that's monochromatic. And then the next color scheme that you can do is a limited color scheme. Now, limited color doesn't have to do with any specific colors on your color wheel. It just means that you use a limited color palette. So you don't use all the different colors that you can use to create your artwork. You stick to just 3 or 4 colors. Now, you do still want to try and make sure that these colors work well together, but if you just stick to 3 or 4 colors, then that is considered a limited color palette. So a lot of our color schemes can be thought of as limited color palettes, but they do have names. However, if the limited color palette that you use doesn't necessarily follow any one of these other color schemes specifically by their name, then you can just consider it a limited color palette. Alrighty, so I know that was a lot of words, a lot of information, but now we're going to get into our project and figuring out what color schemes help to create what filling. Okay, so I'm going to bring over my sample again because in my sample I created 3 different color schemes. I have triadic, I have a limited color palette, and then I used analogous colors. Okay, so here for triadic we should have 3 colors. I have red, blue, and yellow. So those are 3 spaces equally spaced apart on my color wheel. They create an equilateral triangle. So that's what triadic color schemes are. Next, for my limited color palette, I have pink, I have yellow-orange, and I have blue-violet. Now these colors don't necessarily follow any specific color scheme that we talked about. I just stuck to 3 colors, and that is all I would use. If I would continue drawing like a background scene and any other things to go with my fish, then I would still stick to all of these 3 colors and fill in all of those areas with just those 3 colors. So that's what a limited color palette does. Now for analogous colors here, I have colors that are all very close to each other on the color wheel. So I stuck with greens, yellows, and blues. Now you can do different shades of green, different shades of yellow, and different shades of blue, but as long as they are all similar to each other, close to each other on the color wheel, then that is an analogous color scheme. So for any of these, if I were to continue a background and draw more objects in the background, I would stick to these color schemes. So for triadic colors, I would stick to just these three colors. For a limited color palette, I would stick to just these three colors. And for analogous colors, I would stick to just these three colors, but do different shades of them. All right, so that is how we can choose different color schemes and use them in our artwork. But next, we want to talk about how they make us feel or what it does to our picture. So if we were to create a triadic color scheme, they are very bright colors, red, orange, and yellow. Now, a lot of pop artists use this color scheme because it makes objects or your drawing or whatever you're doing in your artwork, it makes it stand out. They're all three very bright colors. So that's what you can use a triadic color scheme for, is to make things stand out. Now, if you used a limited color palette, what this does is, depending on the colors that you choose, it just helps to make a very cohesive, harmonious image. So if you just stick to three colors, even if you're not using a realistic color for other objects, like say I had seaweed or ocean, if I were to make my ocean pink or orange or blue violet, one of these three colors, it's not necessarily going to look realistic, but it's going to keep the same color. It's going to keep it consistent and create a very nice and peaceful picture. And it's also going to be very fun and bright depending on the colors that you choose. Now for analogous colors, we talked a little bit about what analogous colors can do for your artwork, but it is going to also create a very harmonious color piece. And by using different shades, it's going to create a very fun picture, because you can go from light green to dark green to light yellow and dark yellow and yellow green, and it's just going to be all of these fun different shades of all of the same color, and so it's going to keep your picture consistent while also being fun. And again, depending on what color, if you were to use analogous warm colors, that's going to make your picture look a little bit more warmer. If you were to use cool colors, that's going to make your picture look a little bit more relaxed and calm. Okay, so that is how our color schemes work. And so depending on what you like and what you choose, that's going to change all of our artwork from one another. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see the end result for this. Okay, everyone, so enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and get into our picture today. So we're going to start with our final draw. Now, I know normally we start with the practice draw, but because we're all doing something completely different from each other, we don't have to worry about practicing this. If you would like to practice on your own, you can definitely do that. Pause the video, take as much time as you need. But I'm going to be drawing a fish today, and you can draw whatever it is that you would like. What we do want to do all together is separate our paper into 3 different sections. You want to make these sections as equal as possible, so just try your best to find where the paper would split into 3s. I guess I'm using my Sharpie as a little measure for me. So I think that's a good section off. So I'm just going to draw a vertical line down the left here, and then a vertical line down the right side here. So now I have 3 different sections. Okay, so now that you have those 3 different sections, you're going to draw whatever it is you'd like to draw in those sections. So for my sample, I drew a fish. You want to make sure that whatever you draw is nice and long, because we are working with vertical sections. However, if you would like, you can definitely turn your paper vertical, so that way your sections are horizontal, and then you can draw something long horizontally. So that's up to you. Now, if you don't want to worry about drawing your own, whatever your own picture would be, if you don't want to worry about that, then you can follow along with me. I'm going to do my first fish step by step, and then my next fish I'm just going to go ahead and continue working on them. So if you'd like to draw a fish with me, you can go ahead and do that in our first section here as I go step by step. What I'm first going to do is I'm going to start from the top of my section, and I'm going to draw a nice long curved line, kind of like a candy cane shape. Okay, once I have that, Then I'm going to draw the tail, and I'm going to come down and draw a nice wavy line here, and then bring that back up in the middle, and then a nice wavy line down there, and then bring that back up. Okay, so now that I have the tail, I'm going to draw the top of the fish, and I'm going to start in with the mouth. Then I'm going to draw a curved line in, and right about the middle of the fish, I'm going to draw a fin here. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to bring it back in and curve it in so that way it's a little bit thinner toward the bottom. I'm going to bring the fin to the bottom there. And then the very back, I'm going to draw a curved line like a rainbow. And then I'm going to draw 2 more rainbows at the bottom. Draw a line in the middle. So I have my top fin, my side fin, my tail fin, and then the body. And next, I'm going to draw some details. So I'm going to draw the eye. I'm going to draw a curved line halfway down the face. Then I'm going to draw a couple more lines for scale details down the body. Once you have those details drawn, that is our fish. Now you can change up the fish if you'd like, and you also don't have to draw a fish. Maybe you want to draw something else that's long and tall. Maybe you want to draw a flower or a vase of flowers, or maybe you want to draw, a dog or a cat, and maybe they're sitting up straight, or a bunny. Anything that you'd like to draw. But again, you don't want to focus too much on the drawing. We're just going to draw as simple as possible so that way we can mainly focus on our coloring. So now I'm going to continue drawing my fish in these next 3 sections. Whatever you draw in your first section, you want to make sure you draw it in the next 2 sections because we're not focusing on what the subject is. We're focusing more on how the colors bring out that subject and what it makes us feel. Okay. So I'm going to continue drawing my fish. You can go ahead and continue drawing your picture as well. Alright, so I have all 3 of my fishes. They don't all look exactly the same. They're not perfect, but that's totally fine. Again, we're not focusing on our drawing. We're focusing on how the picture looks once we are done coloring it. Okay? So once you're done drawing out your subject, you can go ahead and next start thinking about the different color schemes that you want to use. If you need a little bit more time with your drawing, then go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need, and then you can continue when you're ready. Alright, so friends, what we're going to first think about is the color scheme that we want to use for our first section. Now remember, different color schemes are going to give you different feelings or moods in your picture. So for my sample, I started off with a triadic color scheme. This makes your picture look fun and bold, and so if you would like to do a triadic color scheme, you don't have to do red, blue, and yellow like I did. You can find a different triadic color scheme on your color wheel. We talked about orange, violet, and green because they're all secondary colors. They're also very equally spaced along the color wheel. Those are also a set of triadic color schemes. But you can find a different set if you would like and then use that. Then once you've chosen your color scheme, it doesn't have to be triadic. You can focus on a different type of color scheme as well. But once you have found the color scheme you want to use, next choose your medium. I'm going to be using markers, but you can use a different set of mediums if you don't have markers, or if you have markers but want to focus on a different medium as well, you can do that. You can use watercolors, oil pastels, chalk pastels, color pencils. The list goes on, and it's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and do my markers. So I'm going to start with my red, and I'm going to color in the body with my red marker. Now, we learned about how to use our materials last week, so make sure that you're still following along and using your materials correctly. So if you are using a marker, you want to make sure you're outlining using the tip of your marker. Now, if you don't want to fill in the whole body with the first color, you don't have to. I'm just outlining the area that I want to color in. And once you have that outlined, then you can go ahead and fill in. Now, when you're filling in a large area, you're going to turn to use the side of your marker, start at the top and bring it down, and then back up to the top and down. And you want to use the same direction, starting top and bottom, one line at a time. This is going to be the best way to use your mediums and color in. Get it filled in as quickly as possible. Then at the end, if you have any other white spots, you can go in with the tip of your marker to fill those in. Alright, so now I have my body filled in with red. Next, I'm going to take my yellow and fill in the top half of the body, the face. And I'm going to outline using the tip of my marker. Now, one thing I didn't mention, and if you are already coloring, that's totally fine. But if you are done with your drawing, you do want to make sure you outline with your Sharpie also. If you didn't outline, that's okay. We're only on our first section so far. But if you used markers or anything like that, you can go back in after your marker to outline over, and then you can finish outlining the rest of them. But if you don't want to outline, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. But outlining is just going to help you kind of pull all of your pictures together. It's going to help you see your drawing a lot better, and it's also going to help it stand out. Okay, but now that I've talked about that, I'm going to continue outlining with my marker, and I'm going to come up to the red here. Now, when your markers touch, they do mix, but it doesn't give you a nice mixture as any of the other materials mix together. So it just kind of bleeds in together. So you do want to try and avoid mixing your markers together. There are some markers out there that mix very well, and they're very great brands, and they're meant to mix and blend together, like Copic markers, Tombow markers, other markers. If you have them and you've already practiced mixing them, that's wonderful. But these Mr. Sketch markers are not well to be blended together. Alrighty, so with my Sharpie, I'm just going to fill in my little eye here. I'm going to do that for all the rest of my eyes. If you want to make it a little fun and add some eye sparkles, that's up to you. But again, we're not focusing too much on our drawing. We're more focusing on the colors today. Alrighty, so now I have my red body, my yellow face, and next I'm going to color in all the rest of the details with blue. So I'm going to color in the top fin. I'm going to outline first, and then I'm going to use the side of my marker to fill in, and it's a very small area, so if your area is a little bit smaller, you can always use the tip to fill in those smaller areas. So now I'm using the tip for this small area, but I'm still going one line at a time, up and down. I'm not scribbling or going back and forth. Alright, so now I'm going to finish coloring in my fin. It's always fun with your markers because you can see the strokes. If you follow the direction of whatever you're coloring, if it was like hair or fins, since you can see that stroke, you can use those texture lines, those strokes, to help you create texture, and that's always fun. So now I am done. I have my red, my red, yellow, and blue triadic color scheme for my fish. And again, that just makes it stand out, makes it pop out. It's very fun. A lot of pop artists use this color scheme in their artwork. And it works. It's pop. It's fun. All right, so now that I'm done with my first color scheme, if you're still working on yours, depending on what material you use, you can pause this video and then continue on what you're working with. But if you are ready for the next section, you can go ahead and choose your next materials. You can use the same materials or you can use different ones. It's totally up to you. But next, what I'm going to do is I am going to use my color pencils to color in my next section with a limited color palette. Okay? So for my limited color palette, I used in my sample a pink, yellow, orange, and blue violet. Now for my blue violet, I don't have blue violet in my color pencil set, so I actually mixed my blue violet together just like we did for our red orange on our color wheel. So even though I have 4 colors here, I'm technically still using just 3 colors because I'm mixing this blue violet together. So what I'm going to do first is take my pink and I'm going to color in the body of my fish. Now again, everyone's picture might be a little different, so no matter what you're coloring in, you can go ahead and get started with that first color. Now again, when you are using a limited color palette, if you decided to maybe add a little bit more objects, maybe you added a background, or later on when we do more for our picture and then we have background objects, we want to think about how limited color palettes are used. And again, you're not using any other colors than those 3 or 4 colors that you chose. So it may make your picture look unrealistic, and that's fine. Your picture doesn't always have to look realistic. Your drawing can look realistic, and then your colors can be totally different. Artists, known as fauve artists, were well known for having realistic artwork with unrealistic colors. They always created very fun artwork. Franz Marc is a very famous fauve artist who painted a cow using unrealistic colors. If you've seen his artwork before, you may know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen his artwork before, he also painted a horse with unrealistic colors, so that's always fun. I love being able to color in realistic objects with colors that they normally wouldn't be. So now that I colored in the body of my fish with this pink here, next I'm going to use my yellow orange to fill in the head. Now if you're coloring in a fish, you definitely don't have to follow the different color schemes that I'm using. You also don't have to color in the way that I'm using. Like you don't have to do the body first and then the face. You don't have to split it up that way. If you want the whole body to be one solid color, that's up to you. But now I'm going to use my yellow orange and color in the rest of the face. I'm also going to be overlapping my yellow orange on my pink as they mix together. And when I'm using my color pencils, hopefully you have noticed, but I am using the side. I'm also pressing lightly. I'm using short strokes, and I'm keeping my strokes as close together as possible so that way I can eliminate as much work as I can, so that way I don't have to go back and fill in all of those extra white spaces. I'm going to use long strokes and make it very streaky. You have to always go back in and get those white spots. Otherwise, you just have big white spots showing, and it's not going to look the best that it can if you were to use short strokes and fill in your white spots. Now with this fish, since I'm using a material that can blend different colors, I'm going to be blending in my orange to my pink, but I'm also going to be adding in some details since I can. So I'm going to go into my tail fin and my fin on the side here, and I'm going to make some nice swirl lines, some details. I'm going to do the same thing down here, so I'm going to kind of blend it up a little bit into the pink. Bring it down and then draw some swirls to match up with the tail fin. And this is totally optional, it's just something that I think would look nice in my picture and with the mediums that I'm using. Once I have the different lines, I'm going to go back in, add a couple more. A little bit more orange at the top. Okay. So now that I have my orange in my top part of my fish and the fin details, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue violet and color in the rest of my fins. So I'm going to first start with my blue. I'm going to color in my fins. Again, use the side, press lightly, short strokes. You can layer if you'd like it to get a little bit darker. Now I'm going to color in the bottom half of my fin and bring it up just a little bit into the orange. Now we talked about complementary colors, which I have blue and orange right now. We talked about them mixing and creating this muddy color. So since I'm using them and kind of blending them in together, I am going to get a little bit of a darker kind of muddy color, but I'm pressing as light as possible so I can eliminate that from happening. And then if that does happen, I can go back in with my orange and try to make the orange stand out a little bit more again. Now the reason I chose to do the orange and the blue mixed together, or the orange details in the blue fin, is just because I thought the orange would stand out really nicely in the blue. And I know if I did it correctly, it would look nice. So you can make those bold choices because you know complementary colors are going to look really nice together. You just have to be very careful when mixing them together. As long as you are able to manage those colors well, then you can definitely make choices like that. Now I'm just going back in with my violet to make this now a blue-violet color. Alright, so now I'm finishing up with my blue-violet blending. Now I'm going to take my orange again and just go right back into those orange areas. Make them stand out again. Okay. So now I have my limited color palette in my fish, and if you'd like just to add a little bit more detail, you can go into the body or whatever you'd like to do and add a little bit of shading. Just kind of adding some detail here on the body. You can also add shading, like a darker side, lighter side, and challenge yourself to just use those colors that you have. All right, so next for my last fish here, I'm going to use a different color scheme. So whatever color scheme you'd want to use next, using any materials you'd want to use next, you can go ahead and do that. In my sample, I have analogous colors and I used oil pastel. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So let me grab out my oil pastels. So first, what I'm going to do is for the body, I'm going to color that in with my light green here. So I'm going to press hard, short strokes, and fill in the body of my fish. Once I have the body filled in, and I have all my white spots covered, because this is oil pastel, so you want to make sure you're pressing hard, filling in all those white spots. Once my body is filled in though, next I'm going to choose my next color, and I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to bring my green up just a little bit more. I'm going to use yellow for the top half of the head. Now, for this part, oil pastels blend very well together, so I'm going to use my yellow, and I'm actually going to blend and overlap my yellow with my green, and I'm going to create a more natural blended look for where these two colors match up. And I'm going to bring a little bit of that light green up into the face of the body, which is fine. I still want to make sure I'm pressing hard, filling in those white spots, using short strokes. Alright, now that I'm done with the face, next I'm going to take my third color of my analogous color scheme here, and I'm going to use a light blue. And I'm going to color in the fins. So I'm going to color in this fin here, and then this one. And then lastly, I'm going to color in my tail fin. I'm going to blend in with that green just a little bit. Press hard, short strokes, fill in the whole area, fill in all those white spots. Now with oil pastels, if that is one of the mediums you're using, again, they can get a little bit hard and hurt your hands. So if you need to take a little break from that, you can. I'm just dumping off the little crumbs. And once you color in that, you are done. You can definitely finish that up. But if you would like to add a little bit more detail, you can. Like I'm going in, adding some lines here in my tail. I'm also going to do that on the top fin here. Then I'm going to take my light green and add a little bit of texture on the face. Then I'm going to take my dark green, I'm going to shade in these lines that I have here, and then I'm going to add just a little bit more texture as well. All right, and that is my analogous color scheme fish. So whatever you chose, whatever colors, whatever mediums, go ahead and finish those up. If you need to pause and take more time, you can. But basically, this is all about learning about the different color schemes and how they make your artwork feel a different way. So you can take as much. All right, guys, so we just finished up our color scheme project where we learned just about all the different color schemes that we can use in an artwork piece and what those different color schemes are going to do to your artwork, how they're going to make it feel, how they're going to set the mood or the tone for your artwork. And we did 3 different drawings of the same subject. We didn't focus on our drawing too much. We more so focused on the colors that we chose and why. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Also continuing practicing with those mediums and learning about all of our different colors. So keep practicing, keep working on your artwork if you didn't get to finish. But once you are done, I can't wait to see it. Please make sure to share on our Facebook page, Phoebo Village, and I would love to see it and give my feedback. Thank you guys so much for joining this class. I'll see you guys again next time.